Welcome home. This is Audio EXP, the weekly podcast from Geek Native. I'm your host, Gertie, and today is the 27th of June, 2026. This week, we are evaluating a major regulatory decision in the UK that signals a warning to virtual tabletops, examining a tactical retreat by fan creators from traditional digital storefronts, and looking at the ongoing fallout in the 5e marketplace for independent creators. We kick off this week with our premiere community feature. Our June Spotlight conversation is officially live, and you can read the full chat with Dice Average RPG on the site right now. Jack from the studio did not pull any punches when discussing the current state of the independent market, noting that the third-party ecosystem for 5e has been struggling ever since the OGL dispute in late 2022 and early 23. He highlighted that many long-term creators on platforms like the DMs Guild experienced drop in profits of up to 90% that never recovered, while the storefront itself has become incredibly difficult to navigate due to an influx of low-effort AI material. He also pointed out how prohibitively expensive and time-consuming it has become to produce physical print options under the current layout artist restrictions. I want to extend a huge thank you to all our patrons who make these deep dives possible. Voting for the July Spotlight is currently underway. There are a few days left, and you can cast your ballot over at the Patreon voting page. The 5 independent candidates looking for your support next month are ND Hobbies, Meandery Press, World Zero, Dungeon Mister, and Scald Crow Games. Our top story this week focuses on consumer protection and a significant ruling by the UK Advertising Standards Authority. The regulator has penalised high street retailer Argos and the tech giant Microsoft for failing to explicitly disclose that in-app purchases and loot boxes were in games that they advertised. Now, this enforcement follows the end of a grace period that expired on 26th of May, and it will provide significant food for thought for companies like Hasbro. By targeting subscription models, such as promoting base access to games, without clearly warning consumers about additional costs for extra content, the ruling clarifies that hidden costs must be stated prominently up front. This has clear implications for the virtual tabletop market, where platforms frequently use subscription access or base apps while then selling necessary rulebooks and adventures separately. In digital spaces, we are tracking the distinct clash between legal teams and community creators. The digital Warhammer community has bypassed the Steam storefront following an intellectual property sweep by Games Workshop. Following the launch of Warhammer 40k 11th edition, high-profile tabletop simulator mods were cleared out from the Steam workshop. Rather than shutting down, however, the fan community has simply split from Steam, moving their files over to decentralized independent hosting to keep the games running. It underscores a trend of enthusiasts actively building external networks and workarounds to get over corporate legal actions pushed to them out on their mainstream spaces. This landscape shift directly ties into the ongoing battle for the digital tabletop ecosystem. BackerKit and DriveThruRPG have linked their systems together using API technology for an instant digital reward delivery. This is a technical integration that allows crowdfunding backers to receive their digital files directly into their DriveThruRPG accounts, removing the need and hassle for spreadsheets and tracking manual downloads. Roll20, who own DriveThruRPG, have been incredibly savvy here. By streamlining this fulfillment pipeline, they are tightening their grip on the indie ecosystem, making it much harder for alternative marketplaces to compete. In the past, Roll20 has bought to control this ecosystem, and here they're doing it with friends. Independent game recognition is finding momentum overseas. It is the 5th annual Kiwi RPG online convention. This is a digital showcase for New Zealand's tabletop community. Scheduled to run from the 4th to the 11th of July, the virtual gathering is intended to align with Makatiri, the Maori New Year. Apologies for pronouncing everything there wrong. This, however, anchors the official programming, which opens and closes with the traditional streaming ceremony and karikika prayers. The convention features a interesting array of live streamed actual plays and industry panel debates. High profile figures like Cortex Prime creator Cam Banks and Chaosium artist Paul Tobin will join local independent voices. A major core focus this year is a dedicated Maori creators panel highlighting indigenous design perspectives, alongside diverse system demonstrations that range from supernatural investigative comedies to tense alpine survival horror. To complement the broadcasts, creators across the Kiwi RPG network are launching collaborative discount bundles across Itch, DriveThruRPG and RPG Trader. At the same time, we saw independent milestone made at the 49th annual Origin Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio. The light-hearted, whimsical fantasy sandbox Land of Eam secured a prestigious Origins Award win for Role-Playing Game of the Year. Created by Ben Costa and James Parks and then published by Exalted Funeral, the title topped a highly competitive field with major corporate releases including Critical Role's Daggerheart and the Cosmere role-playing game. Built on a custom D12 mechanical system, the game translates a hand-drawn aesthetic of the creator's own graphic novels into a cooperative, hopeful world that players describe as a blend of Lord of the Rings and The Muppets. Character progression completely bypasses traditional combat-driven experience points, instead rewarding map exploration, narrative development, and character role-playing. The system features an extensive crafting index with over 200 components, giving independent tabletop groups a highly tactile sandbox experience. In comic distribution news, alternative graphic fiction is expanding its direct market reach through key corporate realignment, by which I mean Hero Tomorrow Comics has officially partnered with Asylum Press in a brand new imprint and distribution deal. Under its new operational umbrella, writer Ted Skiora's independent superhero universe returns directly to retail solicitations this August. The premiere launch under the new arrangement is a double-sized issue of Punchline and the Vaude Villains vs. Violante 1. The narrative follows a super-powered clown and a fallen heavyweight boxer as they navigate a theatrical villain syndicate in Cleveland, blending 1990s musical aesthetic with yet monster clown action. The partnership allows Hero Tomorrow to bypass traditional small press printing hurdles by piggybacking on Asylum's established distribution networks, providing a robust entry point for retail comic shops. And finally, we close out the week with 3 excellent options to expand your game library through the Bundle of Holding and Humble platforms. Classic fantasy players can explore brave new frontiers with Chivalry and Sorcery, the New Lands bundle, which delivers sweeping historical supplements for campaign building. If you prefer dark, old-school sword and sorcery, you can also grab over $960 worth of grim material in Professor DM's Dungeon Crawl Classics Essential Bundle, which packs foundational sourcebooks and modules into that substantial discount tier. Alternatively, fans of dark urban investigations and old world grit can explore Altdorf and beyond with the comprehensive Warhammer Fantasy role-playing digital bundle, securing an extensive collection of core resources for that iconic setting. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening to Audio EXP. For all the links, voting blocks, and full stories, head over to Geek Native. Until next week, stay geeky.